Hey guys, this is actually, I'm going to talk about American Horror Story Hotel. This is episode, give me 1 second, I'm actually trying to figure out which episode it is actually. Ciao. Let's see. While I'm doing that, okay, we open up basically. There are, Will Drake is doing renovations in the hotel. And he actually, there's a steel wall. It literally is a steel wall and it's covered by brick. And it's like they ended up busting through it, and it's literally a whole steel corridor. And he has that busted down. And there's two servicemen that are actually working. And in the midst of it, they basically are attacked by two rabid vamps. Okay. It's actually episode 7. This is episode 7, guys. Um, yeah, they're attacked by these two rabid vamps, and they look a damn mess. They're like all gray, and their skin is all white, and they look a damn mess. So they basically get attacked, and literally they're drained. So that's how we start off. And I said, that's something crazy. Where we're going with this. So I'm just going to continue with that piece of the storyline. What we found out later, these two vamps are actually, the story goes back, is part of Countess's story. They are back in Hollywood in 1925. Countess was actually an actress, is what she was. She was an actress. She did silent films. And there was this guy, he was an actor, he was beautiful, and his name was Valentino. And the part was being played by Dandy, Dandy from Freak Show. But he was, so beautiful, and he had a wife. Her name was Natasha, and they basically were swingers, kinda. And they had brought Gaga Contest into the mix, so she ended up being basically their little third party. Natasha always called her his mouse, and always said that mouse is going to be problems. But anyway, Gaga basically fell in love with him. She fell in love with him. Which is always a mess. Why you shouldn't bring a third party into your marriage, because it always ends up being a problem. But she was in love with him, and it was what it was, and they just respected it, and they all just would get down, and it was what it was. So they end up going to this party, and it's been like, I guess, quite a few months had gone by that all this was going on. It may have been years that they were still kicking it. There was a party at the Cortez, and that's when she first met James Patrick Marsh. He was hosting the party. Well, at the party, it was stated at the party that Valentino had actually passed away. It was in the newspaper and everything. So Gaga was devastated. She actually goes down the hallway, same hallway as Sally, and she's literally getting ready to jump out of the window and commit Harry Carey when James Patrick Marsh, who was actually living at the time, grabs her up and he saves her and tells her, you know what, I'm not going to let you go, and I probably never will let you go. Ends up marrying her. Things go on. He ends up marrying her, and this is kind of where you see some of Countess's, her demeanor and her behavior, because she's a heartbroken lover, is what she was. She's heartbroken, basically, and she would go to the gravesite every day and leave a rose. She was literally heartbroken and that kind of thing. She didn't love James Patrick Marsh. She just said, fuck it. I mean, if I'm going to be miserable, I'm going to be miserable. I'm going to be here fucking this motherfucker. He got all this money. I'm going to have all the things that I want. He fuck around killing people and carrying on. She's like, oh, just let me watch. You kind of see her losing her humanity throughout the scenes. You see her just losing her humanity because, again, her one true love was dead, and she really was just left out there by herself. She's a young girl. She had basically no humanity. She didn't give a fuck about nothing for real, because she was getting ready to end it all. So she ends up, like I said, she goes to the gravesite every day, to the mausoleum to visit. She would leave a rose and all that. Well, this one particular day she goes dressed in black, and she's there, and who walks up but Valentino and Natasha? They actually come up, and that's when they end up telling her the whole story of how Valentino had actually went, and he actually got turned, and that's how, and all of this. They explained everything to her, that he had gotten turned, and they had to kind of walk away. But what they've been doing is pretty much scouring the earth and just living. They had money, and they was living and doing whatever they wanted to do, and they were still beautiful, and they would never age, and all of this kind of carrying on. So naturally, she bought right in. She bought right in, and they were going to bring her back into the fold because they wanted to be that threesome again. They came back for her. So she was like, yeah, absolutely. Well, what she didn't know was that James Patrick Marsh had actually overheard the conversation. And like he said, no, bitch, I'm never letting you go. Okay? So you need to know that and deal with that. Well, what he ended up doing the night before, they were supposed to, Gaga was supposed to meet them at the train station and all of that. They were going to go on off to Europe. They turned her, but they were going to go off to Europe. He basically had them snatched up, beat up, and they were put into that steel corridor that was actually built there, and then they were literally bricked into the wall. All these years later, she's never known this. These two have actually been at the hotel this whole time. And she, because he always said, that Valentino, he was a god to her. And that's what he told her, your God has been here the whole time. It was a mess. So they ended up, she ended up, that's how they escaped. So we know that's how they got out and everything like that. So again, Gaga continued to become this very hardcore person because again, she thought they just turned her and played her and left her, So that's where we see that cold edge with Gaga. She don't let people get close to her. But meanwhile, that was a dirty trick that James Patrick Marsh played on her. She has a dinner with James Patrick Marsh every month. Once a month, she gets together with him. His ghost, naturally, he's there. He killed himself there, so he's stuck at the hotel. He's there. Her and him actually meet up, and they have this big, lavish dinner. And they talk about whatever they talk about, and it's always once a month. And he was like talking to her about, doing it more than a month. She's like, no, once a month was our agreement. And basically they went, they're having a conversation, and she's basically like, I ain't never loved you. I ain't never told your ass that I loved you. He was in love with her though, you know. And that whole thing. And then she was telling him that she was actually going to be marrying again. She was going to marry Will Drake. He didn't have a problem with it because, again, Will Drake had bought the hotel and she's still going to be there. So he's fine with that. He was fine with that. And they get to going back and forth and all of this kind of carrying on. And when he said, Will Drake, you talking about the fella that bought my hotel that's a little light in the loafers? I about fell out. But anyway, he was pretty much cool with that. And then they just kind of was going back and forth. You know how people have a conversation and they get to saying things that they really don't want to hear. And she was kind of throwing out that she really didn't love him and all of this shit. And he basically let her know. She was telling about the people in the wall and that. Because then they actually, they were killing people in the hotel. And that's how they got back to looking like themselves. They killed the creepy real estate lady. They fucked her ass up. I was glad because I can't stand her. She's so goddamn shady. They fucked her ass up. But anyway, they got to going back and forth, passing these things back and forth with each other and hurting each other's feelings. And that's when he told him, your God's been here the whole time. He's locked up in the wall. Him and his bitch. They were here. And Gaga was pissed. Absolutely pissed with James Patrick Marsh at that point. But I have to say, at the dinner, Mrs. Evers, I already covered that Mrs. Evers, Mrs. Evers is in love with James Patrick Marsh. She has feelings for him. And you could see her disdain, for Gaga. And he was basically straightening her out, giving her very much a bitch, stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. Clean the bloody sheets and shut up. Stay in your lane. Don't play with the Countess. But Countess had this bad motherfucking bugle beaded gown. I mean, just absolutely totally overdressed to be sitting with a dead motherfucker having dinner. But the gown was sickening. But that, that's Gaga on here. Everything she wears is better than the shit she wore last episode. So That's basically what went on with that. So we got basically all of Countess's her story for the most part now. So a lot of this is making sense about her personality and who she is, and it's creating a clear picture for me. I don't know about you all, but for me, I'm getting a clear picture of who she is. She's not a bad person. The bitch is just emotionless because again, she's a not even a scorn lover. She just is a person who was in love, who felt as though she got played, and now she knows she's not. He fucked it up. But anyway, okay. So uh, another funny thing, when Will Drake tells his son, "How do you feel about me and the Countess being together forever?" and he asked her, "I thought you liked men." And he's like, "Yeah, I do, but I like her." And he was like, "Okay, fine, well, I approve. Just grown. Just grown." He's like, "I got some friends here anyway. It's about them damn kids that she got up in there." Crazy. Anyway, John Lowe. So he just then went down to the police station and acted a damn fool. And then he sees that they told him that they had a suspect of who was actually doing this killing and all of that. So he gets to fight with his partner, and he happens to see that the local health center is where the suspect's being held. He checks himself into that health center, and the wife, Mrs. Lowe, she's trying to figure out why do you want to be at this one? We can get, put you somewhere else. We got money. So he's like, no, he wanted to be there. He knew what he was doing. So he puts himself in there for psychiatric evaluation. And he maneuvers his way around, and he finds out who the suspect is. Well, the suspect's name is Red, and it's actually a little girl. She's about Scarlett's age. Who Red is, she has done some killing. She is a vampire. Her dad was a weirdo. Okay, her dad was a weirdo, and I believe there was some incest. I believe it was like somebody. I pulled from the storyline. It sounded like some underlying incest shit. Because he kept telling her, "You're going to be my little lady," and she didn't want to grow up. Like, she wanted to die. She didn't want to grow up, and she said that she would hate to go to sleep because she knew when she woke up she would be one day closer to being grown up and that kind of thing. I believe there was some incest and molestation going on there, but that was underlying stuff. But anyway, he had actually went and he left her in the car one day. He's in the Cortez getting drunk. And it was one of them real hot days. Had the windows rolled up. She almost about died that day. But Countess came and saved her and turned her. However, some kind of way she didn't get away from Countess, and she's out committing murders. What she was doing, whoever the serial killer is, she's literally running around helping the serial killer. Like, she killed the security guard, and she was there when he killed the twins and all of that. She's been a part of some of these things. So when her and John Lowe met, John Lowe's telling her, it's not your fault. You're a child, this, that, thing, and the other. And she's like, no, I'm at fault for everything I did and that kind of thing. She's a real smart little girl. And you figure she's been around for a long, long time, because that was 1986 when Countess got her. So whatever. So she's basically grown. She's been around a while. So she says she knows where killer lives and all this. So John Lowe, she tells him if he breaks her out of the psychiatric ward, she'll show him where the killer lives and all of that. And that's what she's asking him, are you going to kill him? And he's like, if I have to, this, that, thing, and the other. So my thing, when I'm listening to them talk, I haven't been, this whole time this has been on this season, I've been kind of fighting to think that John Lowe is actually the killer, okay? But I'm kind of leaning that way, and I'm going to tell you, because the writing on this has been so lazy, other than the flashbacks. The writing with the vampires and it's been so lazy that all it's doing is really throwing me into other movies where it looks like Ryan Murphy then pulled different things from other people's movies, which is really, whatever. I'm not going to say nothing bad. I like Ryan Murphy. I like the little thing, but it's lazy, and I don't care for that kind of thing too much. But anyway, there's a movie, and I can't think of the title of it, but it has Robin Williams and Robin Williams' daughter. In the movie, Robin Williams, there's it's always this little girl's talking to this man, and the man is committing murders and stuff, and the daughter knows about it. And at the end of the movie, it actually is Robin Williams, and he actually figures out that he's the one that's been doing all the killing, and the daughter actually knows it all along. That's the feel that I got from Red and John Lowe. And I said, are we stealing from another movie? And I cannot think, for the life of me, I can't think of the name of that movie. But it was pretty deep. You didn't figure it. Was it Robin Williams? No, I'm sorry, it wasn't Robin Williams. It was Al Pacino. It was Al Pacino. And at the end, you figure out that he's the dad is the one that's actually doing all, he's schizophrenic. And he actually is the one doing all the killing. And I really think that this is what they've done. I think they've stolen that plot line and threw this in there from that movie. I don't know why I can't think of the name of that movie, but it was really good, and it did hang you all the way on to the end of the movie. But they ain't hanging me on. I'm pretty disgusted with this, and if it actually turns out that this is the way it's going to be, I'm going to be very pissed because of the laziness of the writing. But anyway, moving on. So John Lowe gets Red out of the home, and then, you know, she was saying she's really tired of it. Like, she's tired of the thirst and this, that, and the other. And you could hear her, you know, railing how she didn't really like how she was living and everything. John ain't paying attention. So she's telling him, I really like you, and this, that, thing, and the other. He broke her out, and right before the scene, and she literally ran out in front of a Mack truck and basically killed herself. She did it on purpose. She was tired. She just didn't want to do it no more. She didn't want to be involved. She didn't want John Lowe to kill the killer and all of that or whatever. I don't know what that's about. But she wouldn't kill herself. I know she was sick of it. She was sick of living with the virus and all of that stuff. So that's basically what happened. It wasn't a bad episode. It really wasn't. It wasn't a bad episode. But again, laziness on the writing part. I was kind of pissed. But anyway, that's episode 7. That's what I gathered. Keep it down. Put it down in the comments if y'all seen something I didn't, or you disagree with something that I'm saying, or you want to add something. You know how we do. Put it down in the comments. Thumbs up, thumbs down. You guys know how that works. Yeah, and the whole thing. And that's another thing. Let me throw this out there real fast. Now, Valentino and Natasha, they went on off. They ain't even bothered with contests. They left. So they walked right the fuck out the front door. Iris looked at them like, well, what the hell? They walked right the fuck out the front door and went on. And again, laziness in the writing, because their whole storyline and their story plot is nothing but Interview with the Vampire. Bam. Laziness. This is nothing but lazy writing and borrowed plot lines and stuff. Anyway, I ain't getting into all that. I'm done with this. Leave your stuff in the comments. I'll talk to you guys. I don't think the show's actually going to be on next week. It may not. I don't think we're coming back till December 2nd, I think. But whatever. I'll be checking. We'll see. Whatever the next episode is out, I'll be here. And that's it. So thank you guys for watching, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.